Hi guys, I did quite a bit of work on Windward in the last couple of weeks, and in this video I'm going to do a quick let's play on the current state of the game. In the video after, I'm actually going to go into detail explaining how I did certain things, user interface interactions, menu animations, and so on and so forth. Well, let's begin. I'm just going to go ahead and record it in Unity. So here I'll start playing the game. At first, you're just presented with a screen where you can either host a new game or you can connect to a remote server. And I'm going to distribute the server separately, so if someone wants to run a dedicated server, they can. The server is just like a 50 kilobyte executable, so it's not going to eat up your resources. Anyway, let's play. I'm going to host the game, and here's a world that got generated for me. There are 4 playable factions. You got Sojourn, you got Consulate, Valiant, and the Exchange. The Exchange are like, they're merchants basically, and they get benefits to trading. Sojourn, the blue faction, they are for explorers. So if you're an explorer-minded person who just likes to run around the world, uncovering the map, finding resources, this will be the faction for you. Then there's the Consulate faction, which is basically a faction of diplomats. They are the most diplomatic of the factions, which gives them a bonus to trading as well, which is nice. The last faction is the Valiant faction. And Valiants, well, they're for those who like combat. If you enjoyed the previous incarnation of Windward, where it was just fighting all the time, you're gonna feel right at home with the Valiant faction. You can choose any of the locations where you want to start, as well as the less populated areas within it. You cannot choose a random zone in the middle of nowhere, but if you happen to start playing and then expand into one of those zones, then future players will be able to choose those zones. Here I'm going to start in a heavily populated area, fully controlled by the Consulate team. And by the way, every zone actually has a different climate going from north to south. Here, for example, is the arid climate, it's the desert. You go higher from that, you get a tropical savanna, and all the way up to the Arctic climate up north. And of course the entire world is completely random, so you can choose a different seed if you don't like this one, if you want to play something else. Not all factions may be available on all zones, so it's a good idea finding one that you would be happy with. Later on, I'm going to make it possible to just draw your own map, because quite frankly, these are huge. 39 different zones. They're massive, but you'll see soon enough. Here I'm going to start with a Consulate team on the humid subtropical climate. That's good enough. Let's play. After a short load, here I am. I start in the middle of the map, or roughly in the middle of the map, and there's the town right next to me. This is new, by the way. I mentioned that I don't like having HUD elements around all the time. I prefer it if they're contextual. Well, they are. Like, even the town's name will disappear after a short while there, and it will only appear if you actually hover over the town in question to begin with. Same thing with other player names. During combat, there's going to be a ring around the player that signifies the team that they're on. You actually saw it in the previous video. But for the time being, I'm keeping it clean. And yes, you can drive backwards. Well, float backwards, sail backwards, whatever you want to call it. These things are just like random loot that spawn on shipwrecks that you can pick up. And this is the equipment that you start with. All the equipment is actually procedurally generated in the game. So the loot that I'm wearing is just random. However, stats on these particular items, they're not random. They are based on the faction that I chose to give me the specific bonuses. If I actually hover over the stats, you'll see that my base stat, which are based on the ship that I'm sailing, as well as the bonus stats. The bonus stats are actually coming from the equipment. In addition to the inventory, there is also cargo space that is available. And it varies with different ship types. So here, for example, if I was to switch to Brigantine, you'll see that it has 3 slots available instead of the 2 that are there in the sloop. I'm going to keep the sloop for the time being. As you get next to a town, I should probably pick up the sloop while I'm at it. There's plenty of shipwrecks in pretty much every zone, and early on you're gonna start up your adventurer career just by looting them, because that's how you get money at first. Money is actually useful for various things. Most obvious of them is making more money, which is great. In towns, they have different resources. So here, as I get close to a town, this menu shows up, letting me enter the town's dialogue. Here, you can see that this town has a serious abundance of fish, which makes fish quite a bit cheaper, by the way, and it needs lumber and glass. You can help towns grow by delivering goods to them that they need. And of course, you can make quite a bit of money in the process. Unfortunately, this requires at least 100 gold, and I only have 30, which means that I'm going to spend a little bit of time sailing around and picking up more loots from shipwrecks. The first, I would say, 20 minutes of the game are pretty much just that. You would explore the map, seeing what else is there, and basically get a little bit of money to get yourself started. I have not yet decided if I'm gonna allow the player start with some capital or not. We'll see. It's a good idea to explore what's in the vicinity regardless. As I mentioned in the previous video, as you're exploring the map, it gets uncovered around you, which is always nice. I've also added damage to the game, so now if I happen to run myself ashore, the ship takes damage and catches fire in this case. The more damage it is, the worse it controls, and more fires are visible. Oh crap, I'm almost dead. I can actually repair myself by allowing the repairs at sea, or I can just do it for free by entering any nearby town. In this case, I'm pretty damaged, so I'm going to repair myself at sea. Repairing in the sea costs wood. Fortunately, I picked up a little bit of wood earlier on, so I can safely mitigate the damage that I've caused. Oh, there we go. That was just enough wood. Nice. Anyway, exploring the world, exploring the map, lets me see what else is there. So here I've actually found a new nearby town. Again, it is just a size 1 settlement, which is really tiny. As you deliver goods to towns, they tend to grow. And later on, they'll even offer you quests to do certain things. But for the time being, this is just size 1, so it's not going to have much. Here you can see that the demands and the production are different than the town before. Here they've got rice, incense, fish, and they need glass. If I look over the map, I can see what is necessary there. So I got an abundance of fish in that town. I really need to find a town that actually needs fish. Of course, it helps to have the money to buy it to begin with. Well, I'm guessing by the time I find that town, I'll have the money. Yeah, a resource just spawned around the shipwreck here. Anyway, let me talk about where I'm going with all this. Of course, just sailing about is fairly relaxing in its own, which is a nice change from a fully combat-oriented version of Windward that I had before. But all of this has a point to it. Point being is the four factions that you saw in the game earlier are all in a conflict, or can be in a conflict if you want. You can have your friends join your world, kind of like Terraria style or Minecraft. You just play with them or play against them, it's up to you. They can choose different teams or they can choose the same teams. And ultimately end up fighting one another, if they're so inclined. As I was sitting in this town, I actually noticed that it has a quest for me now, which is this right here. So, a commission. The governor of Windward, that's this town, is getting increasingly more paranoid. He's now almost certain pirates are about to raid his mansion and steal his treasures. He's offering a commission for any captain willing to build some coastal defenses in the vicinity. And I get 175 gold for completion. Now this is obviously significantly more than I would get just by sailing around and picking up different things. However, this quest was only supposed to be available in towns of size 5 and higher, so I kind of messed up the configuration file there, but oh well. Speaking of messed up things, here's a second quest. Here's another commission offer. A trading vessel laden with supplies has been recently lost just off the coast not far from Windward. The captain, who survived, blamed the reefs, whales, ghost ships, vehemently denying that he was drunk as a skunk at the time. Merchants are willing to pay a commission fee to anyone who builds a lighthouse in the vicinity, and I get 111 gold for that. I'm gonna pick it up as well. So as I've picked up these quests, you will notice that I get skills available here. Unfortunately, in order to make use of them, I need wood and stone, and I don't have enough of either of them. Oh well. By the way, all of these quests, they go into cargo. So now I don't have enough cargo space for anything else, because this ship only has 2 cargo slots. So this means that I need to go and get at least 5 more wood somehow. Oh well, shipwrecks to the rescue. I'm just gonna skip to that part. Okay, so here I am, back with enough resources and even a loot item that I found along the way. So, let's see. Here, build a guard tower. Protect your lands by erecting a heavily fortified defensive structure at the location of your choosing. Now, I can actually place this anywhere. I don't have to place it near the town that commissioned the task. Same thing with the lighthouse. If I want to place it next to some other town that I want it to be heavily defended, I can. So it's up to you. On the other hand, if you do place it elsewhere, then you're not going to get the commission bonus for it. So I'm going to go ahead and place it right here. Now that I've done that, I've lost the wood and stone used to create it, but I've gained 175 gold. So resources that you actually pick up along the way are used to complete quests, certain quests, in addition to repairing your own ship as well. Here I'm just using the same repair skill to repair the guard tower. Now that it's done, this guard tower will defend your territory and this town that it's next to against all the enemies that try to attack it. Towers, just like in a previous incarnation of Windward and other structures, they can be captured if they're sieged and destroyed by other ships. Okay, let me finish the other commission here. There is a distance of where you can actually place the buildings. They need to be with a certain distance of the town in order for you to get the commission, but this should be close enough. Here, I got another set of commission, and I'm just going to go ahead and repair that. All the buildings are actually helping you uncover the map as well and keep it uncovered. Here you can see that this area I've explored, but it is not currently visible. So if there were any enemies around these parts, I wouldn't know about it. However, now that I've placed the lighthouse nearby and there's a guard tower there, they both give me sight. And it's not just sight to me, it's sight to the whole team. If you actually had a friend playing with you, they were to connect to the same server and just join the same zone, you'll be able to see them on the map and they would be uncovering the territory for you, just as if they were a part of you, basically. That's the true cooperative experience for this kind of a game. Here you see that I've actually moved fairly far away, but I can still see the lands uncovered around my structures, which is even more notable than what I'm able to see around myself. Okay, now I've skipped a little bit ahead again, and I'm going to talk about the quality of the items. All items actually have a random quality as well, except the starting items. The starting items, they're just regular quality, then don't do anything. However, the items you encounter in the world will all have a random quality. Here I have an epic chest. And this chest is actually full of gold trinkets and so on and so forth. But the nice thing about it is it has a gold value. However, because it's such a high quality item, this gold value is increased quite a bit. Now I can sell it for this amount, 1700 gold, or I can just salvage it for a lot less. Problem with trying to sell it for such a high amount is towns are not going to buy it. Here, if I try to sell it, it says that the town is too poor to buy this item. I need to find a much bigger town. And in order for towns to grow, you actually need to deliver resources to those towns. Oh, and then I have another quest available. And I'm gonna skip that. Anyway, I can, however, salvage this item. Most items you can salvage, certain ones you can't, like crew, for example. You can't salvage your crew, your captain, your specialist, and such. But things like hull upgrades, crates, sails, you can actually salvage them as well. Anyway, here I'm going to salvage it because I can't find a town that is going to give me this much gold, but at least I'll get 400 out of it. I'm going to load fish onto my ship for cheap, and you may have noticed that although I bought this for 100 gold, the price is now 114 because their supply of fish is lower. It's the same thing with every town. The higher the demand, the more they're going to be willing to pay for it, and the higher the production, the less it's going to cost. The obvious way of making profit is finding a town that has a lot of something, buying it, and selling it somewhere that has a high demand for that something. Here I bought a fish for 100 gold, and I want to find a town like this one that has a shortage of fish. You can see there that the shortage is an incense and fish. So I'm just going to go ahead and deliver the fish to that town to make a profit. Almost there. Okay, here we are. I can just right click and sell it, or I can do it from here. It doesn't matter. Either way, I will get 150 gold for it, which is 50% more than I've paid for it. Now that is a very good profit. And this profit is actually going to be affected by my diplomacy skill. Here you can see that the price is 4% better due to my skill in diplomacy. This is actually doubled because you get 4% better prices when you buy something, and you get 4% better prices when you sell something. So in total you get 8%. Here I've got another quest, but I'm going to ignore it again. Some of the quests, they're just like delivery quests where you take passengers from one town to the next. Others even let you create new cities. Here, this town is too small for that, but as the town grows, you will see that it offers quests to create entire new towns. And you don't have to create towns in the same zone. You can actually go to a different zone and create them there. So let me find a town that has incense and is willing to sell it. Incense, there we go. It has an abundance of incense up northwest. Do I have enough gold for it? Probably not, so I'll have to find some along the way. Well, I'll skip to this as well. Okay, so here I am with the cargo of incense out of Husker. Here I have a need of incense, and honestly I'm not making much of a profit here. I bought it for 700 gold and I'm only gonna get 763 for it. That's because the production of incense was only 1 in the other town, and the need here is only 1 as well. So there isn't much room for profit. But in any case, delivering incense makes the town grow, and now it is a size 2 town, which is excellent. As this town grows, it starts offering more quests and different kinds of quests. And of course it has more needs and more production as well, which helps you. The more production it has, the cheaper it's going to be, and the more stuff you'll have available. So here we have a different quest. Holy Captain, there happens to be a sizable group of people seeking passage to Dench Fort. They're willing to pay their dues. Shall we let them tag along? And I'm only going to get 26 gold for it, but I'm going to get 27 wood, which is handy for when it comes to repairing my own ship. Anyway, the different town that it wants me to deliver to, I don't think I even have it on the map. No, I don't. So I would actually have to find it first. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do something else entirely. I'm going to go to a different zone. The way to navigate the world, this whole thing was just a single zone on the map, by the way, the big map you saw at the very beginning. And there were, what, 39 of them? It's a fairly large world. This map is fully controlled by the Consulate faction, but as I explore the world, I'll be able to find areas that are not controlled by Consulate. In fact, I'll find areas controlled by not just player-controlled factions, but pirates as well, and I'll be able to fight. So here I went north a little bit, and now I'm in a different zone altogether. And as you can see, the climate also changed as well. Everything is greener here because it's less of a dry climate, and there's quite a bit of rock as well. So towns that you'll find here are going to be a lot more likely to produce different kinds of resources, such as granite, for example. Certain resources are also found in certain biomes, like diamonds, for example, are only going to be found in southern climates. Same thing with incense. You're not going to find it up north in the Arctic. Okay, and I'm not going to get around here apparently. The maps themselves, although the terrain is completely procedurally generated at the time the first player joins, the shape of the land masses, the rough shape of the land masses, is actually determined by height maps that I've created earlier. And it's something that modders will be able to take advantage of as well. Everything in the game is completely moddable. The configuration file that defines what ships are available is moddable. In the same configuration file, you'll be able to, or you can specify a lot of other things. Let me just show you. So here's the save file from a ship, and there's the configuration file. To make sure I don't crash into anything. In configuration file, there are prices for different types of resources, where they're going to be found, which quests are available, and so on and so forth. Even stats for the factions. Again, I'm running out of room to sail here, so I'll adjust myself a bit. Here, you can even define which equipment the player starts with and what stats it's going to have. Everything is completely moddable. The localization data is actually in a different file altogether. It's here. So again, everything is completely changeable. If you wanted to translate it to a different language, you can do it, no problem. And as I mentioned in the previous video, both the configuration and localization data, they're sent to each player that joins. So if the person that creates the server, the first joins that server, that is, that person is essentially sending his localization data, his configuration file, and everything else to the server where it's going to be stored. And on that server, it will then be sent to every player that joins in the future. So you can mod anything you want in this game, pretty much, from skills to the equipment to anything else. Oops. And your modifications will be automatically transferred to everyone who joins your game. You don't actually have to send them your mods. Now, of course, certain things will probably require modding, like additional models, for example, but other things, I'll minimize what I can. Like even these symbols that you see here, they're moddable. They're actually specified in the configuration file for the faction in question. So here my faction is this one, I guess, because the symbol is a drake and kind of looks like a drake. And yeah, red, green, blue, yeah, that's the green faction. Okay, well, hopefully this gives you a fairly long overview of what I'm doing with Windward and where I'm taking it. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be focusing on combat again, and we'll go from there. I'm probably going to do Steam right after that. Early access on Steam is going to be available to only people who have obtained the game in the past, as I mentioned. Later on, I will release it for early access, like actual early access, to those who pick it up. Well, I think this video has been long enough. Thank you for watching, and in the next one I'm going to get into more details about how I did certain things like menu interactions, transitions, and so on and so forth. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.